Welcome back to Steve and Abby English, everyone. Abby, how are you today?
I'm doing great, Steve. And a huge thank you to all of our returning listeners. We're so happy you're hanging out with us again.
Absolutely. We really appreciate you spending your time with us today. So, Abby, how was your weekend? Did you end up doing anything fun?
Honestly, I was a complete homebody this weekend. I had a really busy, stressful week at work, so I just needed to decompress. I was just lying in bed on Saturday morning when my friends texted me to go on a huge hike. I felt really bad, but I had to bail on them.
Oh, don't let them give you a guilt trip for that. Sometimes you just need a lazy day to recharge your batteries. You have to listen to your body when it's tired.
Exactly. I was craving some quiet time. I ended up ordering way too much pizza and watching 3 old romantic comedy movies in a row. It was raining outside, so it felt perfectly cozy. How about you?
That sounds amazing, actually. My weekend was a little different. I woke up early on Saturday with this big plan to finally clean out my messy garage. I had my coffee. I had my trash bags ready to go.
Oh, wow. Look at you being all productive and organized.
Well, that was the plan. But I opened this one old dusty box, and it was full of my old college photo albums. I ended up sitting on the garage floor for 3 hours just looking at old pictures and laughing. I completely abandoned the cleaning project.
I love that. You can't throw away good memories. The garage will still be dirty next weekend.
Very true. But anyway, before we get too deep into our weekend chat, I want to give a quick reminder to our listeners out there.
Oh, right. Go for it.
If you want to follow along with our conversation today, you can download the free full-text transcript right in the show description. It's a fantastic tool for your language journey.
It really is. You can just read the words on your phone while you commute to work or wash the dishes. It really helps you catch all these fast, everyday phrases we use.
For sure. And please, don't be hard on yourself if you don't understand every single word right away. Listening to native speakers at full speed might feel challenging at first, but that is completely normal.
Exactly. Muscle memory takes time to build. You're doing great just by showing up and listening. Just relax, grab a cup of coffee, and enjoy the ride with us.
Perfectly said. Okay, so let's shift gears and talk about today's topic. It's a situation that makes almost everyone, native speakers included, super nervous. We're talking about job interviews.
Oh man, just hearing the words job interview makes my hands sweat a little bit. It's such a stressful, high-pressure situation for everybody.
Right? You sit in that waiting room, your mouth gets dry, and your heart is beating so fast. And the funny thing is, when we get nervous like that, our English totally changes.
Yes, we completely forget our natural, relaxed personality. We tense up. We try to sound super smart and professional, but we just end up sounding like a walking textbook.
Exactly. People start using these big, heavy, formal words that nobody actually uses in real life. They think it makes them sound highly educated, but it just sounds stiff and robotic.
It's so true. The interviewer just wants to get to know you. And let's be honest, there's one classic interview question that everyone completely dreads. The interviewer leans forward and asks, "So, what is your biggest weakness?"
Oh, that question is the absolute worst. People completely panic. They try to find a clever answer to hide their actual flaws. They say things like, "Oh, my biggest weakness is that I'm a perfectionist."
Right. Or they say, "I just care way too much about my job. I work way too hard." Interviewers roll their eyes at that. They hear it a million times a day, and they know it's a fake answer.
Absolutely. They know it isn't real. They just want to have a normal, honest, two-way conversation to see if you're a genuine person to work with. They don't want to hire a robot.
That is a great point. They want to hire a real human being who can handle everyday problems.
All right, let's jump right into today's first real talk and see how we can handle these crazy interview situations naturally.
So, a few years ago, I was desperately looking for a new job. I finally got an interview for a marketing role at a very small tech startup. The company was completely new. They were just trying to get off the ground, and they hardly had any funding at all.
Classic startup vibe.
Right. The interview itself was actually pretty weird. Their office was inside this big, cold, empty warehouse. I walked into the room and the manager was just sitting on a giant green beanbag chair with his laptop. He told me to grab a chair.
Oh wow, that is so casual.
It was! So during the interview, he looked at me and asked if I was comfortable doing random things that were totally outside of my normal job description. I really needed a paycheck to pay my rent, so I just smiled and said I was super flexible.
Wait, you just agreed without asking what the tasks were? That's a pretty big risk to take in an interview.
I know! I had no idea what I was actually agreeing to. So, fast forward to my very first day. I was just sitting at my new desk, peacefully trying to set up my computer passwords. Suddenly, the boss walked over and handed me a $20 bill.
Ugh, oh no.
He asked me to run down the street and fetch 4 iced coffees for a massive client meeting. I was hired to do digital marketing, but I just took the money, walked out the door, and went straight to the crowded coffee shop.
Damage control on day 1.
Exactly. I didn't want to complain or cause trouble on my very first morning. I waited in a huge line, carried 4 freezing cold coffees back to the office, and almost spilled them on the carpet. But it gets even worse.
Seriously? What else could happen?
Well, by 2 o'clock in the afternoon, the main customer service guy suddenly got sick. He had a terrible fever and had to go straight home. The startup was so small that he was the only person answering the support phone lines.
That sounds like a total nightmare. I would honestly panic if someone told me to answer angry customer calls with 0 training.
It was awful! The boss panicked, looked directly at me, and asked me to take over the phones. So guess who had to answer all the angry customer complaints for the rest of the day? Me. I had no script and no idea what to say.
So stressful.
My first call was a guy screaming because his package was delivered to the wrong city. I was apologizing to him, trying to look up his tracking number, and at the exact same time, I was trying to do my actual marketing job.
Talk about heavy multitasking.
It was way too much. I was literally typing out a happy, upbeat Instagram post for the company while whispering apologies to this furious guy on the headset. My brain felt like it was going to completely melt by 5 o'clock.
I'm getting stressed just listening to this. It sounds like you were doing the jobs of 3 completely different people all at once.
I really was. But honestly, that's the reality of working at a place like that. When a company is that incredibly small, you really have to wear a lot of hats. There's just no other way for the business to survive.
Very true.
Looking back now, I'm actually really glad I had that crazy experience. It definitely taught me how to handle chaos. But if I ever interview at a startup again, I'll definitely ask exactly what my daily tasks will look like before I sign anything.
Hold on, before we go further, you just used some really fantastic everyday words there. Let's get right into our real talk breakdown. Okay guys, let's pause right here. Abby used 3 fantastic, super common phrases in her story. The first one we really need to talk about is to get off the ground.
Yes, I said the tiny startup was just trying to get off the ground. We use this exact phrase all the time, instead of saying they were trying to start or launch the business. It's a great alternative to basic textbook vocabulary.
Exactly. Let's dig into why we actually use this. The vibe here is all about heavy physical effort. Think about a massive airplane sitting on a runway. It takes a huge amount of energy and power to get that heavy plane off the ground into the air.
Right. It paints such a clear picture in your mind. It feels much more visual, difficult, and exciting than just saying the word start. And you can use it for anything, not just businesses. You can get a relationship off the ground or a new hobby.
That's a brilliant point. It applies to so many daily situations. So, an everyday example for me would be, we need to raise a lot more money if we want to get this charity event off the ground by next month.
That's a great example. And my example is, the new software project is finally getting off the ground after 6 long months of careful planning and stressful meetings.
I love that. Okay, moving on to the next phrase. You used wear a lot of hats. I have to say, this is an absolute golden phrase for job interviews.
It really is a lifesaver. When you wear a lot of hats, it simply means you have many different roles or responsibilities. Sometimes you wear the marketing hat, and sometimes you wear the customer service hat.
Exactly. The reason native speakers say this, instead of saying something robotic like, I have many duties, is because it sounds way more flexible and friendly. It shows the interviewer that you're a positive team player who is willing to help out wherever needed.
That is so true. It softens your language. And please, listen to me, guys. Don't worry if using idioms like this feels a little weird or unnatural at first. It might feel challenging at first, but that is completely normal.
I totally agree with you. It's just like learning to ride a bike. Don't be hard on yourself if you forget to use it during your next conversation. Just try slipping it into one simple sentence when you practice at home.
Perfectly said. So, my example for this one is, at my last job, I wore a lot of hats, from designing company logos to sweeping the messy office floors at night.
Good one. My example is, as a single parent, my sister has to wear a lot of hats every single day just to keep her 3 kids happy and healthy.
Moms really do wear the most hats. All right, the third phrase we heard in my story was red flag. I said that being handed coffee duty on day 1 was a huge red flag.
This is such a great, high-frequency, everyday term. A red flag is simply a warning sign. It means something is probably wrong, or something bad is going to happen soon. It comes from the warning flags they put on a beach when the ocean water is way too dangerous for swimming.
Totally. It's so much more natural than saying, I saw a warning sign. People use it constantly when talking about bad dates, bad relationships, or bad job interviews. It's extremely common in casual conversation.
Absolutely. It's everywhere. So for my example, he was constantly checking his phone during our dinner, which was a major red flag for me.
Perfect dating example. And my job example is, if a company refuses to tell you the salary during the first interview, that's a massive red flag. Walk away. Using these visual phrases makes you sound so much more relaxed and human.
I couldn't agree more. Okay, now that we've got those 3 great words down, let's look at the flip side of the interview experience in real talk too. So, my interview story is a completely different vibe from Abby's chaotic startup experience. A couple of years ago, I was working at a pretty big, established logistics company. I really loved my coworkers, but the writing was unfortunately on the wall.
Oh man.
Yeah, it was not a fun situation at all. The upper management decided to slowly phase out our entire department. They were bringing in this massive, expensive new software system from overseas.
That is so rough.
It really was. This shiny new computer program basically automated everything my team did on a daily basis. It made us totally out of date. So month by month, human resources started moving people to different teams or simply letting them go.
I can totally imagine that. The uncertainty must have been absolutely awful. Just sitting around waiting for bad news every single Friday.
It was a really weird, uncomfortable atmosphere. I was just sitting at my desk every day, watching my work friends pack up their cardboard boxes and leave. I knew I had to get out of there quickly.
Makes total sense.
I definitely didn't want to be the last guy left sitting in a totally empty room. So I went home, updated my resume, and started sending out applications everywhere. Finally, I got a call for an interview.
Good for you.
Thanks. It was an interview with a large educational company. I was super nervous walking into their fancy corporate office, mostly because education was a completely different industry for me. I had only ever worked in logistics.
I bet you were sweating. Changing industries is a huge step. Did you feel like you were completely starting over from scratch with your career?
I really did feel that way. During the interview, the hiring manager actually asked me a very tricky, uncomfortable question. He looked at my resume and asked why I wanted to leave my current stable job.
Such a huge trap.
Right? I knew I had to be extremely careful. If you complain about your old boss or sound angry about your old company, you instantly look like a difficult employee. It's the quickest way to fail an interview.
Very true. Nobody wants to hire a complainer.
Exactly. So I took a deep breath and I kept my voice very calm and neutral. I simply explained that my previous role was being phased out due to new automated technology in the logistics industry.
Smart move. Pivot straight to the positive.
That was the goal. I didn't complain or whine at all. I just looked him in the eye and told him that I was using this sudden transition as an exciting opportunity for personal growth.
That sounds so professional.
I added one more thing. I told him I wanted to find a new role that was truly a good fit for my long-term career goals, and I felt his company provided that exact environment. I really wanted to think on my feet and show adaptability.
I love that. You handled the pressure so well. I would have totally stumbled over my words in that exact situation.
It definitely took some focus, but it worked perfectly. The manager smiled. We had a really nice, relaxed chat about my actual transferable skills, and they actually called to offer me the job the very next morning.
Best feeling ever.
It really is. It just proves that being totally honest, but keeping a positive, forward-looking spin on a bad situation is the absolute best strategy you can use.
That's such a different vibe from my crazy coffee run story. But wait, I heard you drop some really interesting phrases there, like phase out and a good fit. Time for our second real talk breakdown.
Okay, that interview story was definitely a huge learning experience for me. But as you mentioned, Abby, I used a few tricky phrases there. Let's look at the first one. I said they were going to phase out my entire department.
Yes, phase out. This is such a useful phrasal verb. When you phase something out, it just means you are slowly removing it or slowly stopping it over a period of time. You don't just cancel it overnight.
Exactly. The formal, boring textbook way to say this would be to gradually eliminate something. But native speakers hardly ever say that in normal conversation. It sounds way too heavy. Phase out is much softer and more natural.
Right. It feels like a very slow, gentle process. And please, if using two-part verbs like phase out feels a bit strange right now, don't worry. It might feel challenging at first, but that is completely normal.
It really is. It takes a lot of practice to remember which little word goes at the end. So, a basic everyday example for me would be, the city is planning to phase out plastic bags at all grocery stores by next year.
Oh, that is a fantastic example. It happens step by step. My example would be, my favorite local bakery is slowly phasing out their heavy winter soups to bring in fresh summer salads.
Makes total sense. All right, let's look at the second phrase. I told the hiring manager that I wanted a role that was a good fit for my career goals.
A good fit. I love this one. We use this all the time when we talk about matching well with a situation, a place, or a person. The boring textbook word would be suitable.
Right, and suitable just sounds like a legal document. Saying something is a good fit brings up a very easy visual image. Think about trying on a new winter coat. If it is comfortable and matches your body perfectly, it is a good fit.
Exactly. It just belongs there. And you can use this for almost anything in life. For example, we decided not to rent that apartment because the noisy neighborhood just wasn't a good fit for us.
Perfect everyday example. My example is, I really tried to join the early morning running club, but waking up at 5 o'clock just isn't a good fit for my current schedule.
I totally agree with you on that one. Sleeping in is a much better fit for me. Okay, let's hit the third phrase. You told the interviewer that you wanted to think on your feet.
Yes, to think on your feet. This is a very common idiom. It simply means you can react quickly and make smart decisions while you are under a lot of pressure. You don't freeze and panic when things go wrong.
Totally. The formal way to say this is to improvise. But saying think on your feet paints such a lively picture. It implies you are actively standing up, moving, and fixing problems in real time.
Exactly. It is a fantastic phrase to drop in a job interview. It shows you are highly adaptable. So for example, when the computer broke during my big presentation, I really had to think on my feet and just write everything on the whiteboard.
That is a stressful situation for sure. My example is, as a kindergarten teacher, my sister constantly has to think on her feet when the kids start running around the classroom.
You really do have to be fast in that job. We've covered some great expressions today, but there are a few sneaky traps you need to watch out for. Let's jump into common mistakes and make sure you don't get them wrong.
Welcome to the Error Clinic, guys! Now, let's talk about where people usually get this wrong. Native expressions are great, but the little grammar rules inside them can be super tricky.
Absolutely. Don't be hard on yourself when you make these mistakes. We hear them every single day. Let's start with the first phrase from my story today. Phase out.
Oh, I hear mistakes with this one all the time. The biggest trap is that learners often say phase away or phase off. They will say, my company is phasing away the old software.
Right, I hear that a lot.
The fix is very simple. You must always use the word out. My company is phasing out the old software.
Exactly. And the reason why is pretty logical. Think about a door. When something is leaving your life or leaving a company, it is going out the door. It is exiting. So we lock in the word out.
That makes it so much easier to remember. What is the next big trap we see?
The next one goes back to your startup story, Abby. You talked about wearing a lot of hats. This is a huge trap for learners because they try to translate it directly from their native language.
Yes. People will come into an interview and say, I use a lot of hats at my current job. Or even worse, I put many hats.
Right.
The correct fix is to use the verb wear. I wear a lot of hats.
Totally. The simple reason is just basic English collocation. In English, we wear clothes, we wear shoes, and we wear hats. We never use them. So you have to stick to the standard verb for clothing.
Exactly. All right, moving on to the third trap. This involves the phrase a good fit.
Oh, this one trips up so many intermediate learners. They want to turn the word fit into an adjective or an adverb. So they fall into the trap of saying, this new job is a well fit for me.
Yes, or they say, it is a good fitting.
Exactly. The fix here is to keep it basic. Just say, this new job is a good fit.
Right.
And here is the simple why. In this specific phrase, the word fit is actually a noun. It is a thing. And because it is a noun, we must describe it with the regular adjective good. We don't need any ing endings.
That clears it up perfectly. Okay, let's do one more. Let's talk about the red flag. What is the trap here?
The trap is getting creative with the vocabulary. Learners know it means a warning, so they will say things like, I saw a bad flag during the interview, or he gave me a red sign.
Right. I have heard red sign so many times. But the fix is rigid. You must only say red flag.
Exactly. And the reason is that it comes directly from the actual red warning flags they use on dangerous beaches. The color and the object are permanently locked together in native muscle memory.
Perfectly said. All right, let's do a super fast, rapid review to lock these rules into your brain. I will give you the trap, and Steve, you give the fix. Ready?
Ready. Let's do it.
Don't say, they are phasing away the department.
Say, they are phasing out the department.
Don't say, I use a lot of hats.
Say, I wear a lot of hats.
Don't say, the job is a well fit.
Say, the job is a good fit.
And finally, don't say, it was a red sign.
Say, it was a red flag.
Awesome! And that is how you use them in the wild. But how does that compare to what you learned in school? Let's check out textbook versus real life.
Welcome to Textbook versus Real Life. This is where we look at the difference between the standard sentences you read in grammar books and the actual words we speak on the street.
Exactly. And guys, please remember, textbook English is 100% understandable, so don't be hard on yourself. If you use the textbook version, people will completely understand you. We just want to give you options to sound a bit more casual.
Very true. Let's look at 5 examples based on our stories today. Here is the first one, talking about the weather. In a textbook, you might say, I stayed in my house because the weather was raining.
But in real life, we usually say, I stayed inside because it was pouring.
Using the word pouring creates a much faster, stronger picture of heavy rain falling from the sky. Let's look at number 2, about weekend plans. The textbook version is, I canceled the plans with my friends because I was tired.
In real life, we say, I bailed on my friends because I needed to decompress.
Bailing on someone sounds much more casual, and decompressing perfectly explains that you need to lower your physical stress. Okay, number 3, talking about giving up on my garage chores. The textbook says, I stopped doing the cleaning project.
In real life, we say, I completely abandoned the cleaning project.
The word abandoned is great here because it shows you just walked away and totally left the mess behind. Moving to number 4, about that scary interview waiting room. The textbook version is, I am very nervous about my job interview.
But in real life, we often say, I am totally sweating this job interview.
Saying you are sweating gives a real physical feeling to your nervousness. It is very relatable. Finally, number 5, talking about working hard at a startup. The textbook says, I have many different tasks at my job.
In real life, we say, I wear a lot of hats at my job.
Wearing hats is just a fun, friendly way to talk about your daily duties without sounding like a robot.
Exactly. All right, you heard us talk enough. It's time to build that muscle memory. Let's jump into the shadowing practice.
Welcome to the shadowing practice, everyone. This is the most important part of the episode. This is where you actually train your mouth and your tongue to make these new, natural sounds.
That is so true. Listening is great, but you have to speak out loud to build that real muscle memory. Our pro tip for today is simple. Take your time. Do not rush. Hit the pause button after you hear the sentence and repeat it at your own comfortable pace.
Perfectly said. We are going to practice 3 super useful sentences from today's stories. I will say it at normal speed. Abby will say it nice and slow. We will give you a quick tip, and then it is your turn. Let's start with sentence number 1.
I had no idea what I was actually agreeing to.
Notice how the words had and no link smoothly together without a hard stop in the middle.
Now it is your turn. Please hit the pause button and repeat it out loud.
Great job! Let's move on to sentence number 2.
When a company is that incredibly small, you really have to wear a lot of hats.
Pay attention to how the words lot and of blend together to sound almost like lotta.
Now it is your turn. Please hit the pause button and repeat it out loud.
Excellent. Let's look at the third and final sentence for today.
I didn't want to be the last guy left sitting in a totally empty room.
Notice the rhythm here. The strong stress falls naturally on the words last, sitting, and empty.
Now it is your turn. Please hit the pause button and repeat it out loud.
Great job today! Let's wrap things up with some final thoughts. Well, guys, we made it to the end of another episode. The core takeaway today is all about showing your human side during job interviews. You don't need to use massive, robotic words to impress people.
Exactly. Hiring managers just want to know that you are a positive person who can think on their feet and wear a lot of hats when things get crazy. Just breathe, be honest, and use natural English.
That is the absolute best strategy. So, we have a fun question for you guys today. We want you to tell us your stories. What is the biggest red flag you have ever seen during a job interview?
Oh, I cannot wait to read these. Please jump into the comment section and tell us all about your crazy red flags. And while you are there, let us know if you are struggling with any specific English topics. We love getting your suggestions for future episodes.
We really do read every single comment. Thank you all so much for hanging out with us today. If you enjoyed this episode, please share it with a friend who might be stressing out about an upcoming interview.
Yes, sharing the podcast really helps us grow. Keep practicing, don't be hard on yourselves, and we will catch you in the next episode.
Bye, everyone. Have a great week.